Hello and welcome to this Project in a Box video tour. In this tour we're going to be taking a look at reporting. Okay, so here we are within the Windows application, and reporting can be used by higher level permission users to compile a set of information about the project, about multiple projects at the portfolio level that they can then give, send, share with their colleagues to obviously pass on information about how that project or portfolio is performing. There's an awful lot of flexibility here about what you can do, but there's also an awful lot built in as standard out of the box in terms of report templates and content, and all the standard methods are set up with reporting in mind. So when you first create a new project, it establishes as part of that setup what material is going to be included in reporting. Where is it going to get finance information from? Where is it going to get the rest of project controls information from? Tasks, risks, issues, etc. Where is it going to get any further sources of information from, in terms of from spreadsheets, and that could be your own custom content you've added on later, as is the case here, standard charts from finances sheets, or your own status reporting spreadsheets, anything that you want to either standardized from the method template or added on custom later on by the project manager. That'll be mingled, of course, with things like images, so we can link to any images that we hold within the project that we'd like to include in the report as well, and the property sort of information that we have for the project, both the general properties like description, commentary, status, and extended properties that come from the method template, and also the properties coming from the controls database and other spreadsheets that we've chosen to set up. So an awful lot of data there. I say most of it coming through as standard on a new spreadsheet. Before we finish this tour, we'll create a brand new project and it will all be set up ready for reporting, ready for us to just go in and change the content in the files, and that will still feed through again. So let's go and have a look at producing some reports first and see what we get. So in the reports menu here, we're a relatively short list of choices, but they're all very flexible choices. So when we look at project report here, we can either come through and manually select on and off the items that we'd like to have in our report. Some sort of standard choices here, some quite generic ones, so include user specified spreadsheets, which can either include all of them as it is currently, or we can type them in here to specifically include some or specifically exclude others. In the plan reports area here, it's using views, and if you haven't already seen the tours on risks and issues, plans and resource profiles, I'd suggest you have a look at those to get a further feel for that. But these include definitions of the sorts of data we want to include in our report, and how we want that to be presented as well, using the same idea of view that we use in the analysis of those areas. And we'll come back and look at these in a moment further. We have some user activity, and this is showing me how the project team have been interacting with the system. And then here at the end we have presentation options, and this says, okay, well, how all that data we've selected so far, how are we actually going to present it when we lay it out? What structure are we going to apply to it? What look and feel? What colour schemes, etc. So that's the combination of the report, and it remembers the last one I ran when I was here. So I can just simply press run report, it goes away and gets all those various bits. It packages them up for me using the descriptions in the report template. My preference is to go into Word, and so it's done that. It's styled the default report very simply with a logo and some simple colour schemes, and we've got our summary information, properties, etc. We've got information on project roles, who's allocated to what roles in the project. We've got our images, we've got some finance information, we've got some custom spreadsheets which are bringing back the data exactly how it would have been laid out in the source file, the latest available version of that. In fact, every time we bring things back from a file, we show you the version of that file and therefore the date when it was last updated, which is very important when you're reading the report as a consumer of the report, to understand the timeliness of the information. Same here with the chart that goes with it. and a further cost set of data, some property status reporting stuff. Here's the user activity, shows me who has been interacting with the project and how. So these are all the people that have been given permissions to work on the project. The scale is logarithmic because some people will always do a lot, but it's the people that don't do very much that you're really interested in seeing. So all these people have permissions to access the project. Dave has never even selected it, not been in or done anything on the project. And you can timescale this if you want to, so you can look at just last week or month, but it gives you a useful insight on how people are interacting with the project environment. We've then got our plan based on whatever is set up in our view, the column arrangements we want, whether we want a Gantt chart or just a table, etc., what level of detail. This one is obviously not unpacking all of the summary groups here, we're just going down to a certain level. What we're doing in terms of risk analysis, which bits of chart and analysis we want to include, and the same for issues, resource chart we want to include, and how that's structured and laid out. So that's my report, an awful lot of data in there in a standardized format, produced into Word. I could edit it here if I wanted to, save, print it, etc. I could publish it back into the project document structure as well using this link here. So it's initially created just for me to look at. But if I wanted to then share it with other people, I can use Publish Report to put it back in as a document in the project, and that will be then shown to people who look at the report library here. So that's really sort of simple to produce a report, and rather than going through and changing all these settings each time we want to move to a different type of report, it remembers what we've got here, and we can move from project to project and run exactly the same thing. But if we want to move to a different type of report, we don't have to reset everything by hand. So we've got here a standard set of report specifications that are pre-prepared, and in fact you can also create your own custom ones and then save it into this list. So I'm going to switch to a different one, which is Poster, and we'll run that again. Now this is going to have quite a different selection of content. Let's just, before we go into the detail of it, come and have a look back here. Most of the list looks broadly the same. The plan reports is different. We don't have a resource profile selected here, and the views set up here are going to be different as well. User activity is included. The presentation options are using a poster style of layout, and therefore we can see immediately that this looks quite different. It's laid out on a grid format. It uses quite a different colour scheme, and it simplifies somewhat what's included. So we've got information from our status reporting spreadsheet showing here. We've got our finances and our images, and this is the sort of report that we might use with a sponsor, an executive, with a department manager, where we've got a brief time to go through the key parts of the project. The last one was great for project team. Absolutely everything's there. It's there in full detail. You can plough through all the minutiae of it. Whereas here you're wanting to get an overview of what's going on. We've brought the finances nicely to the front and the status information. An image is always helpful, but we've taken out, or we've chosen to take out the details about when the file was last produced and all that sort of thing. We've gone for a much simpler arrangement down here on the planning view. So we've just gone for top level summary tasks, not any sort of level of drill down, and a nice simple table of data. Same for risks and issues. We haven't bothered with matrix views or blob charts or anything of that type. We've just gone for a nice simple stacked bar and list of risks and issues. Not bothered about responses either. And then down at the bottom there, we've still got our custom spreadsheet content. So we've got the things that makes this project unique. All the top stuff exactly the same in every project. What's in here will be different for each project depending on what's been put in specifically by the project manager. So really quite a different sort of report layout, and you can personalize these to be whatever you want to be, because we're using here HTML instructions to define these report templates. So you can move the table structures to lay things out in a different way, use different colors and logos, etc., to make it exactly how you want it. It's very common for customers to, at the very least, change the logo, which is a simple replacement of JPEG, but also to, as they mature, to customize the reporting to match exactly what they want to show to their stakeholders, and how they want to lay that out. And as we've seen here, we can have a whole load of different ones for different sort of audiences. So a different one for the project team, different one for the department manager, different one for the resource manager. Different people want different things. So for example, if we're just interested in an overview of resourcing, we might go for this resources monthly report, which will really be quite a different sort of layout. You're not using any of these sort of things. We've just got a resource chart here, and we can run that. Let me just close that one down first. Okay, so let's go and have a look at after project reports, portfolio reports. So I'm coming into here again. We're in a portfolio already. The marketing department is a collection of 6 projects, and I can do exactly the same sort of thing again, switching everything on and off as I want it, or load up the specification that I'm interested in using. We'll have a look at a poster again and run that, and what it's going to do this time is go away and produce a report for each of those 6 projects. It will then have the data to be able to glue that together at the portfolio level. Now, it can do that quite clearly with risks and issues and tasks and resources, because they're a very standardized, structured set of data. But you can also do exactly the same thing with things that come from spreadsheets as well. We have a mechanism within Project in a Box which picks up sort of codes, if you like, that you've put into your spreadsheet, and it uses those as instructions. So when you're reporting at a project level, you would normally just repeat what was in for the project. When you report at a portfolio level, you can take those instructions and use them to merge the data together. So this is my portfolio poster. We've got the plan laid out, so we've got 1 line per project plan. It's set in the view to show the first one first, so we've got the order at which the projects start is the order displaying here, and the basic set of data. So nice and simple overview of the projects by plan. We're going to just skip past this one for a second, and we'll look at risks and issues and finances. So risks and issues, this time we've gone for a table rather than a chart, just because it uses less space. We've got the total picture of risks and issues ordered by risk rating or severity, as it in this column, and we can see each project and which issues or risks they have contributed. It may only be showing ones over a certain sort of level. You could of course set it to just show the top 10 or something if you wanted to. All that done from the view. So the view that you might be using in your general day-to-day analysis can be repeated straight away into these reports again. Now finances, you'll remember, come from a spreadsheet. In this particular case, we've got the same spreadsheet in each of the 6 projects, and it has, if you like, the instructions on how to process those when you merge them together. We get the same resultant table size and shape, but we merge the data that comes from each of the projects to in this case count, in this case total, etc. Now these ones here are also coming from spreadsheets, but this is using the other method, which is called append, where we've got this block of data coming from one project. We've got exactly the same block of data with the same header, but with a different content rows coming from the next project, and then another one from another project. And this is using, as I say, append, and what this does is if the header area is the same, then it just appends on each set of content from each project. So not all of these 6 projects have this detailed status reporting. The other 3 might be too small, they might not have started yet, something like that. But these 3 do. So we've merged together that data in the way that the spreadsheet asks for it. And you can put your own spreadsheets together that do exactly this. It means you can control the colour, the arrangement of data, what you're collecting, how you want it to show. These ones are obviously standardized into our standard method templates, but you can personalize those yourself if you want to. So with these sort of reports, once we've got them here, we can then choose to publish them. So I can put this back into a folder, a document in the project. I'm going to call this test, and I could give it some sort of description as well if I wanted to. And I'm going to put it into my reports document location like that. So that's now, rather than just being for my consumption, I'm sharing it with other people, and it will now be in my reports document down here. But that we have a sort of processed view rather than looking at the physical files themselves, which is this report library here. When I click on it, in fact when any user clicks on it, it will show them the reports that they are permitted to see. So here if we look at the test one we've just added, we can go away and regenerate that report from not the latest data but from what was snapshotted at that point in time, and there we've got exactly the same thing. So this is a really useful way of sharing these reports back to people. We can use notifications to send emails with links to these reports automatically when the report's generated, so the executive gets an email in their inbox with a link saying, hey, new report available, click on that, and it will then go away and open the report for them. So producing these reports nice and easy. Of course, because we produce some of these things into Word, we can customize them if we want to, save them as PDFs, save them as Word files if we've got our settings all lined up nicely, and share those formats, or we can just do this very simple create and publish arrangement where they get the standard report as it was created by the system. Now let's have a look at the same sort of thing but from the browser interface. So here we are in the browser interface, and as I've come in and selected my project, I get a sort of simple dashboard here, but I also have the ability to go away and view, if I want to, reports in exactly the same way as we just did in the Windows application. It'll give me the current report list for this project, and here's my test one that we just added a minute ago. Exactly the same thing to open that again. If I have enough permissions, I can actually come and produce my own new reports from here. Exactly the same sort of things we did before. A bit simpler though. The form wants to be a bit simpler because often people are doing this from a smartphone or from a tablet, and so we're making that nice and easy. Pick up the bits that we particularly want. Here we can use one sort of task, risks and issues arrangement, and of course we can apply that to the project tasks or all my tasks, etc. We can pick the particular view we're interested in. So let's look at overdue tasks there, user activity, etc. We produce our report, which is then going to be shown to us available for viewing here, so I can see I'm happy with it. And if I am, I can then publish that again from here into my project. Now if we're already preset with a notification running so that it's going to automatically send a link to somebody, if you've forgotten to produce your report when you're in the office, from your smartphone or your tablet, you can set up the report here, produce it, make sure you're happy with it, and then publish it out to share with people. So it's a really popular thing to be able to do. Exactly the same for portfolio reports as well. Again, slightly simplified set of what you might choose to include, but it works pretty well when you want to do it, at a snap from your portable device. So that's getting our reports viewed nicely, easily and shared with people. The other thing to look at is dashboards. We have a dashboard here in the browser app. We also have a dashboard in the main application, and these actually use reports. So when you're thinking about your reports and the way you want them, you can also save those to be available to populate into these reporting windows in the dashboard. So this is, if you like, a little saved snapshot of my finances report. I've just switched everything else on and left the finances off and left the finances on. So it's just those bits that come through, and that's pre-packaged. But I can come into here and select what I want for the project report. So from, again, the project report specification list. So here I might say, well, I want the custom data things to show here. So that's what it's gone away and got: custom data, images, and all my custom spreadsheet content for that particular selected project. And it's run that little report element in here. Now I can therefore set up exactly the combinations of bits of report data that I want to. I can do the same thing at the portfolio level as well. And when I've got that combination how I want it, I can save it as a favourite. So I can come and get it really very easily every time I want to. So I've got a whole set of favourites here, even one that's as big as running a portfolio poster and a poster for the current project in there immediately as soon as we want them. So it saves us going actually off to the reports menu, because once I've got the thing here how I want it, I can then use this open project report or open portfolio report, which will go away and open it in my preferred format of tool, like that. So it saves me going in, and we can start to think of these reports wizards, if you like, as setup devices. We can use the dashboard as the way we quickly run pre-saved, preset reports. So it's giving you really quite a lot of flexibility here about what data you get into your reports, and that can, as we say, be databasey type stuff, risks and issues, task information, all the sort of properties for the project. But it can also be really quite custom stuff like images and spreadsheets. And you've got the exact flexibility about what you include and how you structure it. All nice and easy to do, and all pre-arranged, so you don't have to do loads of changes when you first implement. Okay, so that was an introduction to reporting. If this is the first tool you came to look at, and lots of people find reporting as one of the main reasons they buy the system, I'd suggest you have a look at risks and issues, finances, and planning and resourcing as well, because many of the topics about how we get data packaged up and prepared for the reporting are covered in those other sessions. Okay, thank you very much.